Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Dun, 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 dun. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of MWC. I think I'm gonna title this one Should I Dump My Smartphone? And I'm gonna be real honest with y'all. This is a super chill episode. I did 30 days without a smartphone. Technically, I'm on day 37 now. It was supposed to be just 30, but I'm on 37, and I just have a few guideline notes. So I have, why did I do it? Why did I decide to go without a smartphone for 30 days? I'm going to go over my pros of the experience, cons of the experience, and be honest if I cheated during these 30 days. And then I'm going to kind of get into how I went about doing it. I guess that could seem obvious, but I don't know. For some, it might be kind of a big question of, wait, how do you just make that transition so abruptly? And then again, I will go over, will I go back to my smartphone? So, anyways, this is really chill. I'm just literally, I was tired. I was like, you know what? This doesn't have to be like this arduous task. Like, I am in bed with my dog, and I have some Valentines Day chocolates that I got for 50% off because I'm recording this the day after Valentine's Day. And I just have a tea light on, and this is just super chill. So I'm going to be eating chocolate and talking to you guys about my smartphone experience. You know what? There's a little paper here that tells me what they are, but I'm going to do this Forrest Gump style and not even look, which that could have some negative repercussions, but we're just going to go with it. So, anyways, why did I decide to go without a smartphone for 30 days? Well, that had been something I had toyed with in the past, and I remember I even, months beforehand, had gone to Walmart and gotten a, like a track phone, and I was just like, is this even, why am I doing this? What's the point? Like, I was all hyped up, so I went to Walmart, got it, bought the phone, and then I was like, this is stupid. What was I thinking? That was like a impulse buy. I still pay for my regular phone every month, so what? Now I have two phones? What do? Keep this phone in a drawer and then use my track phone like a drug phone and use that out in public, So, round 1 months ago did not go super well. Okay. Maybe eating chocolate while recording was not my best idea. So, anyways, fast forward, and I'm getting the itch again, I'm like, I would really like to do this. And I started watching some videos on YouTube about, why I got rid of my smartphone, my experience for 30 days, this and that. And I was just fascinated by it, and the thought of trying out 30 days without a smartphone, as opposed to just wholeheartedly jumping in, made me feel better about it, which in a sense is kind of, I don't know, hard for me to admit that, I suppose, because I always, I guess, have tried to, or have viewed myself as this person who's kind of like, I don't know, old school and blah, 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 but, so for me to admit that I really, was having hesitation or nerves about it, it's kind of a thing. But anyway, so, okay, why? Why did I do it? Not just what inspired me by watching videos, but why? Well, for one, I'd be real honest with y'all. I was watching too much YouTube, and that was too much access. I live alone, and I guess it was just a way for me to, I don't know, feel occupied or to have comfort and to kind of veg out on something, but I watched way too many YouTube videos, and if I wasn't watching a YouTube video, I was playing a YouTube video while working, while showering, while cooking, while, getting ready to go to sleep, falling asleep to YouTube videos, just constant noise. And if any of you are avid YouTube viewers, you'll know sometimes you go through different phases of channels and, creators that you're interested in. And my most recent kick before all this was history. So I would watch a lot of weird history videos. That's a pretty cool channel if you're ever interested. But, and I would kind of tell myself, like, well, this is, historical information here. So at least I'm listening to something, a little productive and beneficial for myself. And I don't know. I think it's just kind of one of those things you tell yourself just to kind of ease the pain of the truth of the matter. So anyways, I watched too much YouTube. And I also didn't like the way my phone made me feel sometimes. I'm not sure if you can relate to this, but I don't know. Something about, like, going into the portal of your cell phone for too long, and then you step out of it, and then you kind of feel weird, and sometimes time goes by really fast on your phone, or then you kind of realize, crap, like, that was 2 hours, I could have done this or that, and then that kind of compounds the situation, because then now you're feeling bad for not doing the things you wanted to do, and then you're realizing that was a waste of time, but then you go back on your phone, and so I don't know, I just didn't like the way it made me feel. And I just wanted to be in reality. Like, I wanted to freaking be in reality. Like, this is life. What is in front of me is life. And, I don't know. I just felt like my phone was taking away from that. Because when you go on your phone, you're literally in an alternate reality. For a number of reasons and a range of reasons that maybe we could go over in another episode. I'd love to have somebody on eventually who talks about the effects of social media, smartphones, and the virtual reality on our minds and our realities. But anyways, so I didn't like that. I wanted to be here, and I'm still not here. Like, you don't need to, having no smartphone doesn't make you automatically super, one with the present moment, but it definitely doesn't help a ton if not used correctly. Let me see here. I don't want to take too long on this part. And I wanted to live as humans have lived since the dawn of time. Am I saying I wanted to live in a hut, twiddling 2 sticks between my thumbs trying to make a fire? No. But it's just kind of a crazy thought to me sometimes to be like, whoa, like, human beings have not had this kind of technology at all throughout all of existence. This is the first time. And my thing too with smartphones is that it's kind of crazy because usually with technology there's a slower adapting, like, period for adoption. there's a slower period to adapt to things. My goodness. But with social media, it's just so rapid and it's so quick, and I just feel like it's really hard to adapt. And I know I just said social media, and this podcast episode is about smartphones, but in a sense they go hand in hand, because, if your social media is on your smartphone, that is much more accessible than having to sit down at a desktop or pull out your laptop, turn it on, so I may inadvertently interchange those 2 words, but we'll just kind of stick with this for now. But anyways, so yeah, it's just kind of crazy to think that, people didn't used to wake up and roll over in bed and check Twitter. They'd wake up and they'd see the sunrise, and they'd have to sit in silence. They'd have to be with themselves, They'd have to be with their spouse who is next to them. They'd have to, live in that reality and make the best of that reality that was theirs. They couldn't slip off into their Instagram and the perfect looking photos of their coffee and the hibachi they had the night before. No hating on hibachi though, because it's good. But and I'm not saying people never had vices and never had ways of slipping away, and I'm not saying it's bad to do that ever. Okay, I love a good movie. I love curling up in bed and eating ice cream and watching a movie, but I guess in moderation, which is the point of this video, which actually leads me to another point. Okay, wait, first, let me say these last 2 bullets. I like to experiment. I thought it'd be fun. I wanted to feed my creative side, because I noticed I'm really trying to grow that aspect of myself, because they say the things that you feed about yourself grow, and the things you don't starve. So I'm trying to like maybe starve out the part of me that wants to just sit and watch videos constantly and just go open up my phone screen for no reason because then there's nothing going on. I want to starve that aspect of myself and feed the part of me that wants to make music or wants to draw or wants to sit down and make a podcast, And then, of course, I just wanted to be with my thoughts and be with myself, and have some productive downtime. And I will make this disclaimer, which is a disclaimer that was made in one of the videos that I watched, which, by the way, I can't remember the girl's name, but I will put a link to her video in this because I really appreciated her honesty and her experience and her story. But she made this disclaimer, which I will as well. I don't think smartphone bad. My ex-boyfriend used to always be like, "You're such a caveman." But no, I don't think smartphones are bad, and I don't think social media in itself is bad. I think it's a tool that can be used for good or for bad. I think your phone can either be a helpful device in your life, or it can be a something that controls you, and you are now, servant to this thing. Same with social media. You can use it to share art and help, community events and support groups and to learn. Like on Facebook especially, there's all sorts of groups you can join, weight loss motivation groups, healthy meal groups, plant groups. These may or may not be groups that I follow on Facebook, or that I'm a part of. But so I don't want to sound like it's all bad no matter what, every situation. And I don't want to sound like if you do use a smartphone that it's bad and that you are bad. I don't at all. I'm just a human being who noticed that I was not really utilizing my smartphone in a way that was helpful to me, but it was more so hindering me, and I decided I needed to do something about that, and kind of challenge myself a little bit, and a lot of it was curiosity based. And also, I'd like to mention that I was kind of hesitant at the thought of going without a smartphone completely forever. That's kind of a big jump, especially if for years you've been used to it. So I figured if I had tried 30 days, that would be less intense of an undertaking. And I could just not have this weird pressure on myself to stick to this and not have any guilt if I decide that it's just not something that I want in my lifestyle to go without. Okie doke. So, what were some of the pros that I experienced during these 30 days? Well, for one, I got out of my YouTube loop. Woohoo! Oh man, I feel so happy to not be, watching YouTube videos all the time, which I know sounds weird, maybe, but man, I just feel like it's like a breath of fresh air, and just looking back, it's almost weird to think about. I know it's just been 30 days. Imagine like it's been, 20 years in prison. I look back at my former life, but I don't know. I just look back at how it was, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. No wonder sometimes I felt blah or down or kind of like groggy, like it's almost like this self-feeding cycle. You feel maybe blah or down or groggy, so you turn on YouTube, and then YouTube makes you feel more blah and down and groggy because, you weren't doing all that much for a few hours there, so then you feel more of those negative emotions and sensations, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna watch more videos, and then slowly time trickles by, as it tends to do, and if you are someone who has certain projects in mind or goals and aspirations, which as pretty much all of us do, then those things don't really get done, which kind of just makes you feel worse. And then you feel worse, so you watch more YouTube, and then that's how it goes. So yeah, it's just really nice to get out of that cycle. And I don't know if these two are correlated or not, but I've had a lot of, I don't want to say luck, but I've done a fairly good job of cooking my own food and not going out to eat and eating tons of junk and just enjoying things in moderation. And I don't know if that's correlated at all to me kind of getting that breath of fresh air outside of YouTube and helping to give me clarity and seek comfort in different ways. But that's kind of cool. So that may or may not be correlated, but they definitely did happen around the exact same time. So I learned how to get places. It's kind of wild. I used MapQuest for the first half of this, and I realized I didn't know the street names of the streets that I would drive down every single day. I was like, not Key Street, that's a pretty main one, but, just a certain street, like 4th Street, I'd be like, 4th Street? Like, where's that? I'm like, oh, this is 4th Street. I drive it constantly, almost every day. Got it. So that was kind of cool, and I noticed, what's wild? When I'm driving and it's my GPS, which is my typical way, I zonk right out. I don't have to think. I don't have to focus. I don't have to look anywhere. I don't have to be present because that little, voice will chime in and kind of snap me out of my daydream whenever it's time to turn or it's getting near time to turn. So this time around, having a piece of paper that I went into MapQuest ahead of time, I'd have to write down the directions, and sorry, my cat is being really cute right now and it's distracting me. Anyways, but yeah, having to take the time to sit down, write down the steps, and then not having someone chime in to tell you when to turn, but having to focus and look and be like, okay, I drive on this road for 6 miles. How many miles has it been on my car? Okay, where's the street? I know it's coming up, and I know if I don't look, I'm going to drive aimlessly past. I believe this. I have driven aimlessly past things during these 30 days, but that'll be in the cons. But anyways, it's cool because I could drive something on my GPS. I could drive a route maybe 6 times, still not know how to get to and from. Drive it once with the directions written down, no problem. I know how to get there. So that's honestly really cool. I feel like some sort of, map ninja or something. And I will point out as well that my flip phone, they have come a long way from what I remember flip phones being. This crazy freaking phone had YouTube. Okay, it's a flip phone, and I wish I could show you guys the layout of this thing. But it has YouTube and a GPS and Bluetooth capabilities, okay? I was honestly kind of sad when I first bought it because I was just like, wow, this sucks. This flip phone is so accessible and has so many amenities to it. Like, this ain't your grandma's flip phone, okay? But anyways, for the first 30 days, I used MapQuest. I would go in ahead of time and write down the directions. But I'll be honest with y'all, about halfway through, I figured out how to work the GPS. Now listen, hear me out. This GPS was like a halfway in between the GPS on a smartphone and then MapQuest, because it still makes you work. Like, it doesn't say turn right or turn left. What it does is you put in the address and it gives you steps. So it'll say turn right onto 20th Street, and then you click next on the little button, and then it'll say turn left onto, Gray Street, and then it'll say underneath it 0.9 miles. So after you turn left on the Gray Street, it doesn't let you know when the next step is. You have to still, okay, that was 0.9 miles. I think this has been almost a mile. Okay, hey, look, here's, 3rd Street. Click next. Turn right into 3rd Street. Oh, okay, turn right into 3rd, So, yes, I used my cell phone's GPS on my little flip, but it also wasn't a typical GPS. It was basically MapQuest. It was almost the same thing, only I didn't have to write it down. And if you get lost, you get lost, So anyways, that's my little honesty with you all. I wasted a lot less time. Excuse me. It's a good conversation piece. I always love a good opportunity and reason to talk to somebody about, you know, I don't know, self-development, different types of mindfulness, or maybe help inspire someone to reevaluate the way that they look at their phone, and not from a place of I'm so great, but from a place of I deal with these things, and maybe you do too, and maybe we can both kind of challenge ourselves. So that was cool. Also, side note, no one gave a freaking crap about my cell phone. I kind of like shocking people. I kind of like doing things sometimes that makes people go, what the heck? And I was hoping for a lot more shock value when I pull out my flip. I need to stop calling it that, but me and my friend, we made a lot of jokes about my flip phone, and people being jealous of my flip. But anyways, but no one freaking cared, and I was really looking forward to people like, you know, being weirded out by it, but a lot of times no one even blinked. I got a few jokes here and there, but not as much as I was hoping for. So, we're going to move into the cons now. What were some cons of this experience? Getting places. Oh my gosh, that was the biggest thing for me. Oh, getting places. I got the hang of it now, so it's not as big of a deal. But at first, late, unsure of myself, calling people, apologizing because I'm not there on time, late for appointments even though I gave myself ample time to get there, like 30 minutes extra time. Like, you would have thought that I was an alien plopped down from Mars with no clue how to drive and get places, which was really humbling. So that was stressful. But now I wouldn't consider that con, because I'm a lot, I don't know, it's a lot easier for me now to look at street signs, and I've gotten the hang of it more. So now it's really a pro. So I'm calling it a con because for a lot of the experience it was difficult, but ultimately we're going to bump that up to the pro category. Horrible camera on this flip phone, and I know that's the point. I know the point is you don't need to take pictures of everything, which is cool anyways, because my iPhone, it's full of storage. Like, the storage is super full. So I haven't been able to use my iPhone's camera for like 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 months anyways before that. So I'm already used to not having a camera on my phone. But still, I mean, this isn't really a con because part of the point was not to use the camera. But I'm just going to tell you right now, that camera sucks. Like, that aperture is so slow. Or maybe that's the f-stop. That's the f-stop. Whatever. It's slow. There's no f-stop on that flip phone. Let's be real here. But my biggest con, and this really, honestly, probably has nothing to do with the flip phone and being away from my smartphone. It's just my flip phone is so laggy, and I need to go to the store and tell them, like, if they can fix it, because it's a brand new phone, brand new flip phone, the only one they have in the whole T-Mobile, but it lags. Like, if I try to go to the home screen, it takes 6 seconds. I've counted. I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right, I'm still counting. 5, 6. And then it's loaded. Or I'll try to text, and like I'll write 3, 4, 5 words, and they won't pop up. Then they'll all pop up at once. Or I'm trying to scroll to the left or scroll up, and it just takes forever. Oh gosh, that's the biggest thing for me. Sometimes it'll delete entire text messages. Oh my gosh. So that was annoying. And that's not necessarily anything to do with not having a smartphone or using a flip phone. That's just more so my individual phone. And I'm just too much of a lazy bum to go to the T-Mobile store like I should and get them to fix it. I'd rather just struggle every day, every time I open up my phone. Struggle. First world problems. Okay, so thus far, students, thus far we've gone over why I did this, pros, cons, and now the question I know y'all might be asking: did I cheat? Yeah, I cheated. Heck yeah. Okay, I'm joking, but not joking. I barely, just hear me out. I barely cheated, okay? So, 2 separate occasions, I should clarify that I literally went to T-Mobile and, like, asked them to take my iPhone off of the plan and to use my flip phone. So this flip phone has my number that I've had for years now. Well, I shouldn't say years, but my number. And that is the phone that's registered with T-Mobile. So my iPhone is only usable with Wi-Fi right now. So I will clarify that. But I discovered this. I'm sneaky. I discovered that if I GPS a location, and this is actually good for people who don't have, like, the money for a plan right now, but if you GPS a location while you have Wi-Fi, as long as you don't miss a turn, it'll take you where you need to go. So 2 separate occasions, and one was because I was going on a date and I was nervous that I would not get there or something, and I was just feeling late. I don't know. I did it, okay? Okay, I did it. I admit it. So, but if you miss a turn, then it's going to be like no signal. But as long as you don't miss a turn, if you GPS it, you're good to go. So anyways, I used a GPS twice. There were a few contacts. I realized I couldn't transfer my contacts on my phone. Obviously, I guess, with the flip phone and stuff. And it's so tedious to text on there. I was like, there's no way in heck I'm going to go through here and transfer all these contacts manually. And I just figured people who are my friends and who I talk to regularly, they'll eventually text me, and then I'll say, who dis? New phone, who dis? So, occasionally, though, I would need to go onto my iPhone to look up contacts for work, or maybe someone specifically I feel like I needed to reach out to. I don't know if that counts. I guess not. It's like almost like the equivalent of having a Rolodex and just looking up someone's number. But that's one way I use my phone. Another way is I still haven't switched my bank over, or my credit union from Florida, and I needed to deposit some checks. And you can't. I tried. You can't do it on the website for my bank or my credit union. So I deposited like 2 or 3 checks on my cell phone. I pulled out the app, blah, blah, blah. And what else was it? Oh yeah. And then I've been dating this guy who speaks mostly Spanish. So we used his Google Translate a lot, which I realized might be cheating because it's not my smartphone, but it's a smartphone. But, I mean, I don't know how else I'm supposed to talk to him sometimes. I mean, I try to learn Spanish and he tries to learn English, but there's certain things that we just need a translation for. So, again, I don't know if all of these really count as cheating per se. Oh, and then my final thing is I don't have a TV. I'm realizing how complicated I have to make things as I'm talking out loud. But I don't have a TV. I use a projector. And the only way to watch movies is by hooking it up to like a smartphone. So, and I knew this going into it. I knew I would be doing this. But yeah, so if I ever wanted to watch a movie, I'd have to pull out my smartphone from the drawer, hook up to the Wi-Fi, and hook it into my projector. So yeah, there you go, folks. Okay, those are the times I used it. For music, gosh, here's a con. Radio. I had to listen to the insufferable radio music. Oh my gosh. Country music has become just more and more depressing. I'll admit, I like some of the new country out there. It's good. But a lot of it, though, just kind of makes me sad inside, you know? Like a lot of pandering and snap tracks. But, I mean, again, I do like some of the new country music. But this is a whole new tangent in itself that has nothing to do with smartphones, but I had to listen to the radio, and some of the music was really good, but I love my music, I guess, you know, like I can listen to radio music, but when that's all you have every time you're in your car, it's kind of lame. I like to have my Spotify and listen to that. Oh, another con, you know, I used to be kind of lazy with my banking and not pay attention. My credit card only has a $500 limit because I'm 12 apparently. So, and I don't trust myself enough to request a higher limit. But there were 1 or 2 times where I literally was not paying attention to my finances, and I was at my 500 max, and I couldn't buy my groceries one time. One time I couldn't buy something from Walgreens. So that's kind of interesting. So it's a pro and a con, or it's a con and a pro, I should say, because it's not that great, because I didn't care, because on my phone I would just go, oops, one sec, and I would make a transfer on my cell phone, my banking app, and then that'd be good. But now it's like, I have to pay attention to this. Where is my banking at? How much money's on my card? That's going to affect my credit score if I have more than 50% utilized on my card. So I guess you could call that a pro. But anyways, back to did I cheat, blah, 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 blah. How did I do it? How I did it. So, well, first I went through and I recognized all the apps. Okay, I got the Calm app, I got my banking app, I got my Cash app, I got Spotify, blah, blah, blah. And I just put it all onto my laptop. And again, the point of this wasn't like, also let me drop, these amenities. It was more so, how can I make this to where it's not ultra accessible? How can I make this to where I'm not buried into my cell phone all the time? Because I don't mind. I like using my meditation app. I like, having my banking virtually. I like, Cash app and Spotify. I love Spotify. And YouTube's fine in moderation. So I just was like, let me move these onto my laptop. And I did. So that was the first thing. I logged in onto the desktop. And you'd be surprised how many things you can do on your laptop that are in the app form on your cell phone. Some of them I was like, I don't know if they're going to have this. But they did. So that was one thing that I did. That was honestly the biggest transitional thing, I suppose, was that. And then I went to the store, T-Mobile, and had them switch it out. And it was cool because the T-Mobile people there at that night were really cool and receptive, and I liked talking to them and stuff. They were interested. And it was crazy. I remember going to the T-Mobile store, and there were just ads everywhere. And, of course, it's all cell phone based. And I don't know, it just felt kind of like Freudian in a weird way. I don't know if that's like conspiratory of me, or like glass half empty of me to say, but it just kind of felt like bombarding and like, buy this is flashy, this is new, ooh, this one will like read this about you, and this one can, oh my gosh, one thing there, listen to this. It's just, okay, for me at a certain point things just become unnecessary, like with cars, for instance. Like, oh, your car can like read your pulse, or like, parallel park for you, or it can sense when this or that. And it's like, at a certain point it just becomes unnecessary. Like, I don't need to spend an extra $4,000 for my car to like let me know I should take a nap. My car does that, but but anyway, so one of the things they had there was a literal, like the smartwatches for your wrist, to tell you like, oh, you slept well last night, oh, you walked a lot today, which no duh, but anyways, sorry if you were listening, by the way, and you have a smart watch wrist thing. I think that's awesome. I really do, because if that's what works for you to help motivate yourself to be healthy, then that is what works for you, and I commend you for doing something that helps you out. You know what I mean? Like, people need to track their sleep patterns. People need to that extra encouragement to walk more or whatever. So like, sorry, I apologize if that came off rude. My point is, what I'm getting at, the watch in itself isn't what gets me. What gets me is the ad I saw for a smartwatch for dogs, and it was like, track your dog's health, and that's what got me. Okay, not for people, that's logical, but for the dogs, that's when I was like rolling my eyes in my head. Wait, metaphorically, I was rolling my eyes, and I was just like, oh my goodness gracious. But yeah, basically just transferring over my apps into my laptop. And I noticed, like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I never really used them, the ones I put onto my laptop. It was like some of these things that felt super necessary weren't. And then you realize which ones are important or helpful whenever you take the time to put them on your laptop, because then you see which ones you actually use, because you have to use them and log on to your laptop. So, will I go back to my smartphone? I'm honestly not sure. I really am not sure. Technically, this was supposed to be 30 days. I'm on day 36 right now. Partly just honestly because I'm unsure, but also because I have to drive to the T-Mobile store, bring in my iPhone, you know, this whole ordeal. And honestly, like, I'm not that hurt without it. Like, I'm genuinely trying to think of a reason why I would really need it. Now that I know that I can use that, like, step-by-step GPS thing, and I might even get Spotify Premium and just use my iPhone as, like, a iPod, you know, like, hey, this is my iPod now. I can listen offline mode, so I honestly might do that. But then again, I'm not, like, anti-smartphone. Like, I might go back to it, but if I do, I can tell you this much: I'm going to delete almost every single app on my smartphone and utilize it the way I do my flip phone, where it's just, it's like, here's my GPS, here is my banking app, here is my way to call people. So I would want it to be more of a tool rather than this, like, fancy thing. And yeah, so maybe I will, maybe I won't. And what do I recommend? I recommend, if you're feeling wild, that you try it out. Or I recommend that you challenge yourself just to take a step back from your smartphone. Maybe 30 days is a lot, you know? So maybe instead of 30 days, try at 8 p.m. I put my phone in a shoebox and I charge it in the other room, and that's that. Or my personal favorite, you know, I don't look at my phone in the mornings until I've had some time in peace and quiet and had some time with God and had some time to just relax, you know? To each their own, of course, but maybe find something that works for you. You know, it doesn't have to be this intense 30-day all or nothing. You know, there's ways to go about it, and I always recommend, you know, asking yourself, you know, just being honest and objective with yourself and saying, where am I with my smartphone? Am I using it diligently? Is this something that is bettering my life, or is this something that is hindering my life and actually getting in the way of me truly living? So that's something to think about. And I'm honestly really, really, really happy that I've done this. And I don't even know if there's much of a point for me to go back to the store and get a smartphone. Again, this flip phone sucks, though. Like, it's so glitchy. So I'm going to see if they're going to be okay with giving me a new phone, a new flip phone. But again, I mean, I don't know. I'd give it a shot. And I'm trying to think of something else to say. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm getting more and more tired, and I'm probably going to just go straight to sleep after I stop recording this. But again, I'll put the link to that girl's video from YouTube that I really enjoyed. And if you have any questions, email me at mindfulnesswithchrist@gmail.com. If there's any things that you're curious that maybe I didn't touch on, I have this feeling like there's something I could have said that would have made more sense or helped prove my point, or that I should have discussed. But again, I don't know. Like, I'm happy that I did it. I'm not even sure if it's worth me going back to having an iPhone. I feel more free from it. I don't know. The thing I'm mostly happy about is just not watching videos constantly on YouTube, and being stuck in the vortex of YouTube. And again, looking back, it kind of, like, obviously I still have bad days and I still have to work on my mental health and stuff, but I can see why I would be in a slump, especially when I would watch a lot of YouTube and then eat out a lot and then feel bad about eating out and then feel kind of sick and like groggy. Like, I can see why over time that affected me. I mean, now if I even just watch have like a movie day or something, or 2 days in a row where I watch TV, it's like I feel it and I notice it and I recognize it. And I'm like, wow, imagine that compounded over months and months of living. So I feel good. I really do. I'm glad I did it. And I recommend it to somebody. And if not the full out 30, then maybe your own version of it. That's all I have for this episode. I'm going to log off and eat some more of these chocolates and have a great day. Bye.